The problem is with Galactus as well is it is the size of a small child. Like it's it's about 2.5 foot tall, isn't it? Like when you actually do the math, nearly 3 foot tall,
short of 3 feet,
which is bigger than one of my children. I'm just gonna Welcome back to the Week in Review with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. If you're listening on podcast, don't forget to check the description below and give every channel and link a follow. And obviously, if you are enjoying the show, then please do like, share, and subscribe, and all of those things. How you doing this week?
All good, man. How about you?
Yeah, I'm very good. Very good. Thank you very much.
It's been a crazy
interesting one. Yeah, it has been. It really has been. It's been a lot of different things for different reasons. So, yeah, an enjoyable one, though. Lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about, especially Haslab. We've got a lot to talk about there, and not just Marvel.
No.
So let's have some fun with that.
A little bit on the Star Wars front as well.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. So, I guess we should bring someone else in.
Yes, we have a guest this week. He's a good friend of mine. It is Big Nerdy, Matt himself from Nerdzoic.
What's up, everybody?
How you doing? You good, Matt?
Oh, I am beautiful over here on this side of the pond. How about you, gentlemen?
We're good. We're a bit hot. Hot today, but it's all good. It's all good.
This is the first time I've worn a shirt all day. This is the first time I've put a shirt on.
I'm not wearing pants, so we'll just keep the camera up here. So let's dive straight in. Let's go straight in with Black Series. Obviously, it was a little bit quiet on the Black Series front. There wasn't a huge amount of like reveals or anything like that in previous weeks, but of course we did have a little bit of a slip up, shall we say?
Oh, more than a little slip up, shall we say?
Do you think it was intentional? Do you think it was planned or?
No, the way he said it on the live stream, it did not feel planned. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, it felt like Harry Potter when Hagrid gets done messing something up and says, "Oh, I made a big mistake." It felt like that. That's what it felt like.
No, fair play. I did wonder whether it was like a marketing technique, knowing that the Marvel guys had something coming out a little bit later in the week, but obviously the internet went crazy for it. But what are your thoughts about the idea of their Haslab?
So this is where people hate me. I'm not into Haslab at all. I don't.
Right.
I'll talk about that when we get on to Galactus later. I can't justify the money that they freaking want for these things. But the idea of it was the Rancor, wasn't it? It was the Rancor. The idea of the Rancor. I like the idea of it. I'd love nothing more than to pose that thing up in some dirty alcove with Luke and stuff. That'd look amazing for some photography. But can I afford one? Probably not.
No. They didn't put a price tag to it though, did they yet?
Did
you after seeing the price tag that came out of Galacticus this week?
I gotta tell you, right now, today, I am completely underwhelmed and not happy with it at all. So I do like the Haslab thing. I love the idea. I think it's really cool. Can't afford most of it, of course. Got to put my house on a third or fourth mortgage to do this stuff. But they helped me out a lot by making this Rancor thing. Because unless that thing's $100, there's no way I'm paying that much money for a plastic Rancor. They can throw in a half-eaten Gamorrean guard. They can throw in a Jedi Luke. They can throw in a giant bone. Unless they're throwing in a giant dungeon playset with C-3PO's face looking down a grate. There's no way I'm chucking out good big money for this thing. And I say that now, but how much do you guys want to bet come the last day that this thing's open that I'm sitting in there with my credit card like that?
That's the thing, though, isn't it? I mean, the last big Haslab project was, of course, the Sentinel that came out for the Marvel Legends line. And that one went crazy. It was like fully funded within 24 hours. And obviously it hit all of the different tiers and everything. But the thing with the Sentinel is obviously people did bulk buy. They bought like multiple because of obviously what the Sentinel is. But with something like the Rancor, it kind of is what it is. There's not much that they can add as a tier, apart from the things like you say there, Matt. But obviously then they're novelties. Whereas with the Sentinel, it was kind of actually, look, we'll throw in, this extra figure and this extra head. And it was all stuff that was kind of, that worked with a Sentinel. But for the Rancor, like you say, so apart from a playset and a full-on dungeon, there's not much that you could really add to it to justify the money, surely.
What is? I mean, have they even said if this is for the? Is it for the 3-inch scale or the 6-inch scale? Did they mention that? 'Cause I can't remember.
6-inch, but
6-inch.
So I did the math though. It's not that big. I mean, we're talking about a 16-inch. The Rancor, like in universe, is 16 feet tall and something like 12 feet wide when it's all hunched over. So I mean, it's a nice, sizable chunk of plastic. But hollow that thing out. It's not that, we're not talking about anything crazy here. What's is it going to have like an animatronic mouth? Like, what can they possibly do to make this into something that's like must have?
That's the only thing it could do for me. For me to want to put down that megabucks, it would have to be electronic sounds, all singing, all dancing.
Yeah.
Rampages through your toy, through your toy box or something. It'd have to do something mental for me to put down 400 quid for one of these.
That's it. And the last one that the Star Wars did was the Razor Crest, Razor Crest, wasn't it? And obviously that was riding on the coattails of Mandalorian's popularity and all the rest of it. So people did jump on it.
They did one before that, didn't they? They did the barge as well.
The barge, the barge
back in the day.
That barge that broke my heart. I looked at that thing and I said, I don't need that. Now I made a list of my Star Wars Holy Grails. That's number 1. I'm like, oh.
But I think that's what they play on a lot with these, these Haslabs, because again, going to the Sentinel, we'll get on to Galactus a little bit later in the Marvel Legends section, but obviously that one's now been announced and everybody is still chasing after the Sentinel and trying to pre-order that and stuff. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Is that it gives a real, you have to buy it or you're going to lose it. It's not like you're going to, so I don't know. I mean, for a diehard Star Wars fan, that has a complete Black Series line, is the Rancor a must-have or is it a luxury? I mean, I personally won't buy one. My Star Wars collection's small enough that I can justify not having a Rancor. I'm still chasing after a Jabba the Hutt, so let me get the Jabba first. Go on in.
I just had one of my channel members, great guy. He gave me the choice. I could have the San Diego Comic-Con Jabba the Hutt or the Boba Fett and Han and Carbonite in exchange for 4 Nerdzoic t-shirts. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'll throw in a Fett.
and a bumper sticker. Just
bought 2 of each when he was at those cons. So he's like, all right, I got Jabba saved for you. When you got something worth trading for it, hit me up. I'm like, you better believe it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the thing as well, isn't it? I mean, it all depends on the value of the things that you buy at the time. I mean, I saw in one of your videos before, Madge, I think it was the celebrity one, and you're talking about there was one of the celebrities that have the whole, you'll remember which one it was, that has the whole Star Wars vintage collection.
Yeah. Oh,
like mint in box.
One of the singers, one of the musicians.
It was one of the musicians, wasn't it? And and they have this whole collection, but you say in the video that they paid literally retail price for them and then just put them aside. And I think that's the problem with these things. We're living in this age now where there's not a huge amount of toys and figures that come out like back in the in the late 80s, early 90s, where they became collector items. Nowadays things are pushed out so much that you don't really get a huge return on investment, but then you get something like these Haslab projects that kind of give that kind of feel again, that this is something that's limited and it's not going to come out again. And it's, I don't know. I'll look forward to seeing the production pictures. That's all I can say. But I'll look forward to seeing it when it's officially announced.
I really want to see the announcement. I want to see the numbers, because once we get some numbers, I'll put a video out and I'll sit down and I'll go total like statistic number nerd with I'll look at the past Haslabs, figure out the appreciation, and just try to figure out how, because I look back now at the Sentinel. I passed on the Sentinel. I said, you know what? I'm going to get the Razor Crest. We didn't even know what it was. I just said, I'll get the vintage collection for sure. They had just came out with the Galaxy's Edge Falcon, which I never got the BMF back in the day. So I'm like, oh, I got to get this. So I chose no Sentinel. Now I'm looking at it and I'm just like, stupid. Because now I could have just went and put it on a charge card, paid the interest all the way till this year, and still paid less than I'll have to pay on the secondary market to get one of those.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, while we're on Haslab and we're on this kind of direction. Should we go on to the Marvel Legends Haslab announcement? And while we're fired up and we're talking about it, so obviously Marvel Legends announced on their Fan First Friday the Galactus, the Haslab Galactus, that boasting to be the biggest Marvel Legend figure ever created. Naturally, because he's got that huge crown, but still, it's the biggest Marvel Legends that they've ever created, that they've ever put into production. And we theorized, didn't we, Sorrell, like, you know, last week's show about what it was going to be. And I don't think either of us actually said that it would solely be just the Haslab, did we? So I think we toyed around with the idea of it being the Haslab announcement. Initial thoughts?
It was kind of a given there was going to be the Haslab after everything they kind of spoke about, and everyone was begging for Galactus so long, and it was inevitable. But first initial feelings, I'm not that excited. I think I'm the only person on the internet this week that went meh. And I'm a big Marvel buff, as you know, but even I was like, nope, next. I don't know why. I just don't get excited for these giant things because I know that I'm never going to be able to get one. So I just go meh.
The problem is with Galactus as well is it is the size of a small child. Like it's it's about 2.5 foot tall, isn't it? Like when you actually do the math, nearly 3 foot tall,
short of 3 feet,
which is bigger than one of my children. I'm just going to put that,
For me, my issue with these things is obviously I pump out once, sometimes even 3 videos a day, and I do toy reviews every day, all day, and I look at it that I can either do a month's worth of content for that £400, which will last me about 40 days with all different figures, or I can buy one figure and review one thing that month.
Yeah.
That's how I see it as well. It's like I can't justify it just because I know that I can get so much. I can get 4 Marvel Legends entire waves for the price of one Galactus.
Yeah, that makes sense. What was interesting though is that they teased images, didn't they? The Marvel team and Hasbro teased images of the figure itself before the event, which was the first time they've done something like that. From my knowledge, they didn't do that with the Sentinel. I don't know if they've done it with any of the Black Series before.
It was a good way of doing it, and it was a good way of earning some ad revenue for them right there.
And avoiding any leaks. And avoiding any leaks as well. Like there was no leaks at all. Was it? I mean, people knew it was coming.
Yeah, but I'd say it was one of them ones. It was kind of like it didn't need to leak because we knew it was there.
No,
we kind of knew it was coming.
What are your thoughts on it, Matt?
Yeah, so I'm going to pop a cold one to this just because that's how excited I am. Like, take where I am with the Rancor, flip it, and that's where I am with the Galactus. I was so worried that they were not going to stick the landing on this. So they said Fantastic Four, and I'm like, well, it's got to be Galactus. And then everyone's like theorizing, well, it could be a Fantastic car. What if it's a Baxter building? And I'm just like, if they do that, that will be like the biggest, like it was a layup. It's just the Galactus. So I'm really happy with it. I'm not happy with the price. Who possibly can be? I mean, but the night before I was reading rumors that it might be as high as 500 US. So when I saw 400, it was actually kind of a relief, oddly enough.
Wow.
But, I think it looks amazing. And, I am a simple man. Give me a large chunk of plastic that lights up, and I'm a happy guy. And you give me 32 inches of light up plastic? What more can I ask for?
It is an incredible looking piece. I mean, there's no denying that it is an incredible looking piece. It's a huge step up from the old Toy Biz Builder figure. It is glorious looking. There's no two ways about it. There's 2 things that I think go against it, if I'm totally honest. And the first is that they've put this out before the Sentinel's in hand. So a lot of people that probably would pull the trigger on it are holding back because they're like, well, actually, I haven't got my first one back yet. And also they've put quite a high mark, hasn't it? It's 14,000. And I can't. Last time I checked, it was I think it was on about 6.5. I don't know if anyone's got any higher numbers than that. But
7.25, about 2 hours. It was just over 7. It ain't looking good.
Yeah,
I mean it's Bill, but it's not like compared to the last couple Haslabs.
No, and I think that the thing with the Sentinel is obviously it filled so quickly. They were pumping out the tiers, and they were showing us the tiers almost like just the renderings, weren't they? It wasn't even like we haven't even got this as a physical product, but this is what we're going to make. And I think a lot of people will jump on the Galactus thinking, right, well, what else are we going to get for my 400? and I don't think it's necessarily going to hit tiers. I think that you could be buying what you see. You know, they've said that the first tier is definitely going to be a figure, a 6-inch figure. They've not hinted what, but I think it's probably going to be a Herald. Let's be honest.
Silver Surfer.
See, I hope not.
I want it to be, because I don't have a Surfer, and I don't feel like paying the overpriced aftermarket price to get the one from a few years ago. So I'm happy with it. I'll tell you what. Yeah. One of the ways I'm paying for this is any Heralds not named the Silver Surfer don't need to be in my collection. So they're going straight up to eBay as soon as they arrive.
I'm on the opposite side. I hope that it's not a Surfer, because I do have the one from before, and it's kind of like, I'm not one of those collectors that's kind of like, I've got all my stuff, I don't want anyone else to have it. But it was such a hard piece to obtain, you know, that so many people are chasing after. It would almost feel like a bit of a kick in the teeth to just kind of go, oh, here we go, we're going to reproduce it. Because, you know, they're always quite vocal about not pushing out the exact same figure, and there's always a repaint or a remold or something. But with Silver Surfer, they've already done the Fallen, which is basically a darker version, isn't it? There's not much that they could do to Silver Surfer, bar sort of painting his eyes a different color or something that wouldn't make it a repaint. But I'm really on the fence. I'm really on the fence about it at the moment, and I would love to have it in my collection. I mean, if somebody wants to buy it and send it to me, I would quite happily display it. But to invest, and it's funny that
you know that I occasionally get things sent through from Hasbro and stuff, and even I was got laughed out the door when you mentioned there. Well, maybe that might be something you could send my way for reviewing, and it's like, yeah, funny, like okay.
I am. Thing though, if you pay for it now, you're out about $400 and something after taxes. Worst case scenario, assuming you have $400 to just burn. Next year, you sell it for $600 or $700. I think worst case scenario, $5 or $6. But either way, if you decide you don't want it, you're gonna make a profit, even if you split it up and keep some of the Heralds, because that's what you want. Like, I think there's, the way these things work. I don't understand how people's minds work sometimes, because they'll be all salty that they don't have a chance at something like this. Like, there's so many people online complaining right now about the Sentinel scalpers. And Mike K, I don't know if you guys follow him on YouTube, and he's like, guys, listen, you can't scalp a Haslab. It's physically impossible. No. Everyone's got a shot, but everyone's still, no, man.
That's it. But the thing, I'm on the same train of thought there, is because, with the people buying multiples, like I've seen people saying that they bought like 5 or 6, and they're just helping us reach the tiers. Like they're not doing an injustice. They're helping. They're buying 6 of something that you're only going to buy 1 of. Like, give these guys a pat on the back. Like, if I had the money to purchase 5 or 6 of them, I would have, hands down. But you can't call them a scalper, because, like you say, you can't scalp something that's being crowdfunded. I don't get that. I don't get that.
As Matt knows, he made a video all about it. But yeah, the word scalper gets thrown around so much these days in the community. It's just a cop-out clause at this point.
Yeah,
I think, I think it's a word that's misused a lot now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a word that for people, and I hate gatekeepers and all these kind of people but I think for people that collected before a certain time, the word scalper meant something, and you kind of knew what it was. And it's one of those words that's kind of stuck as collecting communities have got bigger, and the meaning behind it is not what it was, if that makes sense. And I think that the definition of what a scalper is very different to what people tarnish people as a scalper as, but
I tried to define it though. I tried to define it, and boy, did the world react. Yes, half the world saying, you go, bro, you got this right, dead on. You had the other half saying, you must be a scalper too. And I'm like, well, listen, if you consider, like, if I go and I sell something that's 5 or 6 years old, I'm not going to sell it for retail price. I'm going to sell it for market price. Like, I'm not an idiot. It's just like, because then at that point, then I'm not going to sell my Black Series. I'm not going to sell my DJ Black Series figure that you can't give away. Like, no one's going to pay $20 for that. I mean, that's the balance. That's how it works.
Of course. And I always liken it as well to things like, the property market and stuff. Things go up, things go up, and you pay less at the time of purchase, and they'll always go up. But then, like you say, there are things that will go down, and if you're a collector, if you're a seller, a trader, etc., you're gonna take those hits and losses. And for sure, there are things in my collection that I wouldn't let go at retail price, for love nor money.
It's the reason I basically started doing Comic Con stalls rather than selling things on Facebook, because too many people just do that whole, he's selling the Toy Biz Warpath for like 80 odd quid. Oh, scalper. It's like, no, that's what it's worth. It's probably worth more than that. I'm selling it for a decent price and you still get shot down.
My brother gives me crap for it. So I have a toy store in the States here, cheap plug. But one of the things I'll do is if I get a figure and that is like super hot on the aftermarket, I'll sell it for what I would sell it for normally, which is I match Big Bad Toy Store prices. But I'll put a couple of them up on eBay, and if they go for crazy money, it's the same name. You can see it right in the listing, nerdzoic.com. You can either buy it on eBay for the convenience of it and pay whatever the market demands, or you can go to my store where I charge exactly what retail is, And he's like, "Oh man, that's messed up." I'm like, "It's not messed up. If you're too lazy to leave eBay, you deserve to pay the convenience fee."
Exactly, 100%. But kind of bringing it back into this Galactus, I mean, I'm really on the fence. I think I will literally be an 11th hour backer. If I back, it will be like right at the last minute to sort of get an idea of where it's going. But there's no denying it's an incredible looking piece of kit. It is absolutely stunning. The thing that I think is funny to talk about market value and stuff, the thing that I'm most frustrated about is the value of my Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Galactus has just dropped.
That thing, it has sold that a month ago. Get your DeLorean and get rid of that guy.
It's like he is literally sat right next to me now because I literally had him out. So I was like, I'm going to get rid of him because I've got a good feeling that Galactus is coming, I slept on that, didn't I? Let's be perfectly honest. Maybe I'll give it as a giveaway or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's
one heck of a giveaway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But no, I'm joking. Don't hold me to it. I mean, giveaway as in...
You heard him here. When the Fantastic Four get announced here any day, because they're doing the Fantastic Four vintage line.
Yes.
We know there's 6 figures in it. As soon as I saw the Galactus rumors, I called my distributor. I'm like, yo, whatever I got for Fantastic Four, double it. Like, however many cases I said, double it. But is that going to change your opinion at all when you see some new, like, super on fire Fantastic Four guys getting released? Because for me, I'm just like, well, I guess I have to even more.
Yeah, I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I've got, Marvel Legends wise, I have the Walgreen set. I've got the Silver Surfer. I've got the newer, the new design black costumes. I've got the Dooms and all the rest of it. So, and for me, Galactus was always, I've got my Toy Biz Galactus. That's cool. So my OCD is kicking in a little bit because it's like, well, I've got a complete Fantastic Four set here. And as you say, when the new ones come out, that'll be your standard retail figures. So yep, I'll definitely get those as well. But there'll be a huge hole in the collection if I don't have the Galactus towering over them. But I don't know. It's interesting you mentioned the 400 US because obviously over here it's 400 UK pound. So, exchange rates and stuff like that. And I know you guys have tax and all the rest of it to add on top, but there is a big difference. And we've noticed that recently with some of the Comic-Con exclusive figures, like the MODOK, we spoke about that a couple of weeks back, me and Sorrell, there's a huge price difference. And I think that in itself is putting off a lot of the outside US backers, because with the Sentinel, we didn't have an option. When the Sentinel dropped, there wasn't a UK and Europe option to get it. It was kind of like, look at what we're giving the guys here in the States. This is amazing. Sorry, all the fans elsewhere.
Well, that's all shipping. That shipping on that thing's got to be brutal. I mean, I saw.
Of course.
Zavi carry the Sentinel for you guys over there?
Zavi picked it up afterwards. Zavi UK picked it up afterwards. I love Zavi. Sorrell, you love Zavi. Like, we're big Zavi fans. They look after us, like me and Sorrell. So I'm a big Zavi fan. There are people that aren't, because they put pre-orders in and pre-orders are cancelled and stuff. So when Zavi got it as their product, people were really kicking off. I mean, I've got full faith. I'm really not concerned at all. I've got full faith that they'll follow through.
Especially now we've got obviously Hasbro UK, sort of the Hasbro Pulse thing in the UK now. It makes sense that they're gonna go through with the Xavi one just to keep the peace.
Of course, but that's the difference, isn't it? Is that the Sentinel? It was a good. I think it was about 24, 48 hours after it was announced that we got the Xavi UK announcement. Whereas obviously with Galactus, he was straight on Pulse UK, so he was there, readily available. You could back him straight away. I think I actually went on there during the announcement, and there was like 0 backers. I was like, oh, I could be the first. But it was, it was. So I think that's going to make a difference as well.
Yeah, my final thoughts on the whole thing would be that I think they would get a lot more backers, especially out here in Europe and the UK, for the price that we've got. I think it would be great if they would have done like you pay £100 up front. That's you don't get that back, non-refundable deposit. If you back this project, you pay that £100 up front. Then the rest of the £300 could easily be put into a payment plan.
Yeah.
And then more backers would come in that way. You know, it's straight up front that you're not getting this £100 back. That is for your backing. If you cancel your backing, you don't get that back. But then the £300 would be a lot more manageable over the next however long it's going to be till it even comes out. And they'd get a lot more backers and a lot more tiers unlocked very quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. That makes a lot of sense. Any final thoughts?
I would say, especially when they're working with Xavi, because they do clearly work with Xavi, and they do payment plans for their things. Yeah. They could have easily done it through Xavi with a payment plan, easily. That
was one of the biggest things that people said when Sentinel landed was that Xavi does payment plans, but we can't do a payment plan on this because it's Haslab. But
I'm surprised by that. Like, it's not exact. So for my online store, I do it through Shopify. Usually my transaction fee is about 3%. I can offer a payment plan on anything, and it only takes my fee up to 5.98%. So it's not like a big difference. So I'm surprised that they couldn't have worked. I feel like it was just kind of like a laziness thing. Like I don't think it would have been that hard to figure this out to set up a interest-free financing. And it would not, like, they could have easily built it into the cost for an extra, like literally $2 a unit. But they didn't, and it is what it is, but I wish they would have.
All right, then. So, final thoughts on Galactus is that it's a thumbs up. It's a there for you, Sorrell. But I think I'm with you, Matt. I think I'm a massive thumbs up. It's just having the courage to go, you know what, let's back this. But you make an excellent point, and I think in regards to the price of these things will always increase, and the aftermarket price will always be more than the initial retail price. So if you can afford to do it, it's definitely an investment, if nothing else. So let's bring it back to television a little bit. There wasn't anything else Marvel Legends this week, was it? There wasn't anything else.
No, the only thing I was going to say to you was, did you get a nice bill this month from all the backlog of toy pre-orders? Did they all come at once like me?
There's been a huge backlog. So I think
I'm sat here and I'm laughing because I'm saying to myself, I'm not going to back that Galactus, but then I got a nice little comics and cocktails bill this month for about £500, and I nearly died. I was like, about 4 or 5 waves all dropped at once, and that's when I regret collecting as much as I do.
Wow.
Why I like paying ahead of time. You never surprised.
I operate very much a kind of I sell, I buy, so I don't know if I could have you got to back the Galactus now. You can't drop that information and then justify not backing it. But either way, but no, it is exciting. It's very exciting. I think I've got a parcel coming either Monday, Tuesday, early days that's going to have a big backlog of stuff because a lot of stuff was held up. So things like the Villains Wave.
The Villains Wave. We've got Marvel Legends this week in England. And as well, we've got those new Star Wars ones as well, the fancy boxed ones.
The Clone Wars, Anakin, and Obi. And I'm really excited for those. I've got those 4. I've got the Villains Wave. Oh, and I got the cow.
That's the random Calcastus. Did you get that as well?
Yes. Yeah. Just a random. Why not? So that as well. So it'd be exciting. We'll be opening the same things. But there was no other announcements, was there? I think it's all just Galactus thing.
There was a lot of stuff released from McFarlane, but we could talk about that towards the end if we've got time, if you want.
Yeah, we'll bring that in at the end. Because I saw a couple of your posts about that, and they're quite exciting. So
I got quite excited about that.
So Bad Batch. Let's get on to Bad Batch. Matt, you're a Star Wars guy. Big fan of Bad Batch?
I absolutely love the Bad Batch, even though it is pretty much Ninja Turtles in space. Heck is Donatello, Wrecker's Michelangelo, Hunter's Leo, and then Echo. He wasn't an original Bad Batch. He's an outsider like Raphael. The only one who doesn't fit is the sniper guy. Other than that, they all fit perfectly.
But he's gone off anyway, hasn't he?
So it doesn't count. He can be Splinter.
Oh, what's his name? Oh,
I'm having a
Crosshair. Crosshair. Yeah. Crosshair's, he's left the Bad Batch anyway. It's Ninja Turtles in space. You ruined that for me now.
I
know. All we need is like the colors, the corresponding colors. But we said this a few weeks ago. It's just Clone Wars season 8, isn't it? It's just so beautifully continued. I really enjoyed this week's episode. Obviously, it carried on with the Hera story and kind of the Rebels kind of prequel. It wasn't as exciting, I didn't think, as last week.
More of a filler.
It was more of a filler, but it was for me the big bit.
Yeah, it was rounding out last week's story, wasn't it? Really, it's just putting the final touches to Hera's backstory. I really do hope we get to see some of the other rebels slowly coming in as children or youngsters, being slowly introduced. Like I said, it would be nice to see Ezra's parents working alongside the Bad Batch, trying to free. Is it right? No, not Rylos, where Hera's from. I can't remember the planet where Ezra was from.
I can't now. It's such a long time ago that I watched it.
But yeah, if you see things like that, and then it just gives that, it just continue like a pure continuation, isn't it? From Clone Wars right through to Rebels.
I'd love to see like a Zeb and Wrecker kind of tag team. That would be
like a buddy cop movie.
That would be
a cop movie. They'll be good to go. Like Lethal Weapon 6.
Just an episode where them two are just kicking ass. Do you know what I mean? Just go. That'd be pretty cool. But I enjoyed it.
We might see a very bleak episode, which could be about the genocide of his people, because that was a big talking point in Rebels. They could go for that on this.
Yeah.
They've done the stuff with Hera's parents getting arrested and whatever. So I mean,
will Disney do it though?
I hope so, because they've had some pretty bleak episodes, haven't they, so far? I mean, Black Widow. Come on, that beginning of Black Widow was enough. I didn't think Disney would do it, but they did it.
Yeah, but that's in the movie. Well, I guess it will eventually be on Disney Plus, but I guess I kind of looked at it as, but that's the movies. Speaking of, I can't believe I'm doing this to us, but I'm pushing us back to Marvel. Did you guys see the Deadpool Korg reaction video?
Yes, I did.
That's like my new favorite thing. I want Deadpool and Korg to have like a talk show.
It popped up on my Instagram, I think it was, and I shared it on various different bits when I saw it. But yeah, I mean, technically Deadpool's in the MCU now. It's, it's a very Deadpool way of kind of saying he was there, but I loved it. I thought it was great. And, Korg is such an awesome character to watch, so comical. To have him against Deadpool, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed that. That definitely whet my appetite to see Deadpool in MCU. And it also showed that he would work in certain cases. Mm-hmm. It could work. A
buddy cop movie. Just give those two a movie together.
Yeah.
They also did that Deadpool 2 remake at Christmas, didn't they? Which was a PG-13 version of Deadpool 2. That kind of worked. I mean, they could still have Deadpool in his own movies being an R-rated franchise, but then sneak him into some of the other films in his PG-13 format. And they could even make him acknowledge that because of his fourth wall breaks. They could even acknowledge, I can't say that word, I'm with Thor. They could even do them stupid things and it'd be funny.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just bring it back to Star Wars. This is the wrong way around, Matt.
I know. It should happen.
But Bad Batch, it was a good episode. It was an interesting episode. I enjoyed it. I like the ending with Crosshair kind of being given permission to kind of go off and hunt down the Bad Batch, and it kind of whet my appetite for what's to come with the series, because we were saying we didn't want too many filler episodes, that we wanted it to be kind of fast paced and give us what we kind of want out of the Bad Batch. But yeah, so I think it's going to be quite exciting to watch.
And what episode number was this week? Did we look? Can't remember what number it was, because they've got 21 episodes to fill.
Wow!
So I mean, it's a full.
I want to say 9.
So maybe. we're only halfway through. So we're still going to get that mid-season trailer and see what's coming up very soon.
Yeah.
Dry spell then, huh? That's all we got for a while now that Loki's done.
Yeah. Well, we got the What If drops in August, doesn't it? So a couple of weeks until we got that. Right. But it's all animated. Everything is going to be animated for a while. So just a quick question to you then, Matt. Do you any predictions on anyone that's going to show up in Bad Batch? Any other cameos?
That's a good question. I think you guys kind of hit it on the head with the Rebels guys. I think we will see Zeb probably being the one. You know, when we started this, was that I'm a little dense sometimes. So the first episode of the Bad Batch, I'm like, so is that supposed to be Kanan, the kid? It wasn't supposed to be Kanan. I just assumed it was. So I assumed correctly. So we already got 3 of them if you count Chopper. All that's missing is what? Zeb and Sabine?
And Ezra.
Ezra's not born at this point.
Well, maybe we'll see his mom. She'll be Ezra. Be like, that's everybody. But yeah,
Ezra's stories,
Rebels, and that's it. We'll do a lot of Rebels. We might get a Chewbacca. If we're going to do Zeb, why not?
Chewbacca, he shows up in most things, let's be honest.
It's not even surprising anymore.
Or C-3PO, like one of them has got to show up. It's got
At this point in the timeline, we've still got Ahsoka, Maul, the young Han Solo could pop up. Because obviously we've still got that time period of the Han Solo movie with that whole whatever's going on with that girl and
Khaleesi.
Where on the timeline is Bad Batch in comparison to Solo?
I think the Solo movie might have been and gone at this, but no, it can't have done because Maul has just escaped Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So he's now gone off to do his own thing. So that could be where he does tamper around with trying to bring up the Thieves Guild or whatever he called it. I can't remember what he called it. But
I'd be interested to see as well, because obviously Star Wars has got a lot of stuff in the production, like in the pipeline, hasn't it? Like the Obi-Wan series, the Ahsoka series. And I wonder if they'll do something similar to what Marvel is doing at the moment and kind of open those stories up with the current projects. So obviously Loki, we'll get onto that in a minute, but opened up the path to various other stories. And I wonder if Bad Batch or Star Wars are going to do something like that, like just drop little hints that kind of lead you into the story that you're
kind of already done that with. I always forget her name. The bounty hunter lady from Mandalorian. She's already shown up in Bad Batch.
Fennec.
Shan. Yeah. So they've slowly weaved her into being a part of the lore of Star Wars. So I mean, we're definitely going to see Ahsoka. Let's be honest. Ahsoka is going to pop up because she's the fan favorite.
Ahsoka's a must. Yeah. She's a must, and she's she was born of Clone Wars. So to not have her in Bad Batch would be a little bit unjust. And
we're definitely going to see a young Boba. Definitely.
That's it.
Oh my god! Yeah.
We said that you've got to have Boba and Omega kind of squaring off. And
obviously, at this point, he's probably still going to be with Aura Singh. At this point, he's going to be a young man growing up, but he's probably going to still be with that Aura Singh character, that other bounty hunter. And obviously, this program's all about bounty hunters, so she would fit in.
Yeah.
The way they push things together lately, I don't know how they do it, but at some point they got to go back. Like we're too far ahead on the timeline now, but they got to go back to Mandalorian, give us a young, Din Djarin, is that his name? Is that how I say it correctly? We got to get a young Din animated. That's what we need. I don't know when. Yeah. Maybe do a flashback and get him.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? That would definitely be a lot of fun. I'm 100% behind that. But I think they'll save that for us because Mando was very much just casual fans like Mandalorian. Like everyone knows Mandalorian. I think they'll save that to kind of pull people back in, maybe just as a little. We've also got this for everyone to look at. So because there's series 3's in production, isn't it? So where's that one going to go? It's a long time for that one, but it's there. We got the Book of Boba as well before that, haven't we? Like that's a lot of but so I wonder whether Clone Wars will kind of lead into setting stuff up for the time before Mandalorian so that it leads into Boba. I don't know.
Like I said before, I think Bad Batch could have multiple seasons, just like Clone Wars did, because obviously they couldn't keep calling it Clone Wars because the Clone Wars are over. The clones are no longer. We're slowly moving into the time of the Empire.
It's going to end. Spoiler alert: Bad Batch ends with us finding out Bib Fortuna has like a gluten intolerance. You're like, oh my god, that's why he's fat.
That'll be the after credit scene.
Credits like at a doctor's office. It turns out that you have a gluten intolerance. You're going to have to switch to a fat-laden diet. That makes sense. I don't know why, but why not?
Yeah. If that happens, I'm going to be calling you up because
that's all me. If you guys want to use that Lucasfilm, give me a call. Phone numbers on the website. 10%. I think that's fair.
Sounds good. So let's move on then. So there's obviously been a huge finale this week on Disney Plus. Probably the biggest talking point of the week for a lot of people. We saw the final episode of Loki. Loki finished up, rounded up. First thing I want to say is that me and Sorrell were talking about Kang the whole way along and the Kang character, and then last week switched it and went, nah, it's going to be Loki, isn't it? Like, forget about Kang. Like, it's going to be Loki. What were your thoughts? Where are you at with it?
It was great to see them slowly introducing Kang, but it wasn't the reveal of the Kang as we know him, which I liked. It was it was an alternate version of Kang. So we still get the big reveal in Ant-Man, which is cool. Yeah, so I think that's where we'll see him as the purple faced, that like proper spacesuit version of him in the big film.
Interestingly enough, it was a
political nightmare over here with that, by the way. Like, is it? Oh yeah, you got half the country like, yeah, we got a new Kang, and you got the other half, that's not my Kang, and I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, well, you all got up.
Well, the thing is as well, the character that we saw was kind of a mixture of Mortis from the comic books and he who lives, or he who survives, however it's read. But there's two characters. He who remains. That's it. But they kind of threw two characters together to kind of create that version of Kang. But I thought it was an incredibly clever way of introducing Kang, but not revealing him, like you said. And just something I never would have guessed it. I never would have guessed that particular storyline, if you like.
And the ending, how did you take the ending? Because is he in the same time zone? Is he in the same time thing, but he's just been put back at a certain point, or is he's now in an alternate timeline, or how did you perceive it?
My thinking on this is obviously the TVA have the little yellow boxes, for lack of a better word, the portals that they have, and all the way through time the timeline has been, the main timeline, the sacred timeline. So the TVA were able to use those portals to jump between stuff.
Yeah.
But then when everything was taking place, that was after obviously the timeline started to branch, didn't they? So Sylvie had done what she had done and she opened up the portal, but because there was the branch timelines, I don't think she intended, but where she pushed him, she thought she was sending him to the TVA, but because of the branch timelines, she sent him to a different a different timeline. So the reason that there's a big Kang statue there isn't there. And Owen Wilson's Mobius doesn't recognize him and all that kind of stuff. So this is like an alternate timeline where Kang or a Mortis or whoever that character may end up being kind of didn't create the timekeepers and instead became the ruler, if that makes sense. So it kind of opens up that multiverse thing.
I was wondering whether it was a bit more of a Back to the Future Part 2 moment, where they're going to the future and Biff's now in, he's got the casino and stuff. I thought it might have been something like that, where they've pushed him back to this point in time, but because obviously now Sylvie and that would still be moving forward in time the same as they are, because that's how time works, isn't it? So she's done something, he's now taking power and things. So I thought maybe it's just how the time's progressed and now he's at that moment as it now is.
Yeah, I mean, it was a massive head.
Oh, it was,
wasn't it?
It always is when it comes to time travel.
It was just like I was trying to rack my brain around it, and I was like, right, okay, they're there. It was just, but I think it opens up so much for obviously the next phase in Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's a couple of things though that got me. So, and I don't know whether you picked up on it or know the answer to this, but Renslayer, obviously, we saw kind of her backstory. So we saw her as a teacher. And they made a point of putting a date up. So it said 2018, I think it was Ohio or something like that, 2018. And she's a teacher. And they go back, and what's the name? The hunter B-15 goes back and brings the other hunters, and sort of then they see her, they see the Renslayer, and they kind of say, what are you doing here? And she's not the character of Renslayer yet, is she? This is before her variants get taken, or a variant of her or something like that. But then later on in the episode, she says to Mobius that they've had eons of friendship, when in reality, it's only a couple of years ago since she was in her timeline, if that makes sense. And that messed me up. I was kind of like...
Time moves different in the quantum realm.
well, by eons, by and I couldn't make sense of that. I was kind of like,
I think I read that obviously that place where they went is another like our Earth timeline, like the current timeline for our MCU, and the variant that's in the TVA is from a different world. Like we have tons of Lokis.
Yeah.
There's gonna be tons of her as well, and all her variants. So this might be just a variant from another timeline, but she looks the same as her variant, which annoys me because obviously all the Lokis look different, but some characters look the same from different. I don't understand that concept.
No,
either everyone looks different or everyone looks the same. You can't do that middle ground crap.
No, it's that unless the actor's very highly paid and they just want to get as much out of their screen time as possible. But there were a lot of questions there. I went really deep in it as kind of in my comic books and stuff like that, because obviously there's a version of Kang that's Nathaniel Richards, isn't it, in the comic books, that goes back in time and kind of has that almost a similar story in the respect of kind of managing time and that kind of stuff. And obviously that's linked to the Fantastic Four. And so is this going to kind of tie in with the Fantastic Four movie that we're going to get eventually, or is it just going to be completely? So
I feeling Kang's a big enough character to carry the MCU for the foreseeable future. I think he could be the next Thanos, being slowly built up and introduced over the next X amount of years. Because the only thing that could be bigger after that would be Galactus himself for the Fantastic Four's big villain. But that would require the entire MCU to fight him, and we are going more cosmic as we go further down the line. It's getting more cosmic, so I could see that happening. That we're going to start having Kang as the next big villain, and maybe he somehow unleashes Galactus or something later on.
Kang will definitely be our big bad for the foreseeable, even if he's just in the background, like they did with Thanos at the beginning. He was in the he literally
in the chair, wasn't he? At one point
and stuff. Yeah. What were your thoughts on it then, Matt? What did you kind of make of the reveal?
So, as you guys know, we talked before we started. I have not watched the last episode yet, but I am a sucker and read every reveal. I was not. So I had my hopes down because I'm sitting there, like, we'll go back in time. I'm sitting there watching WandaVision, and I'm waiting for Mephisto. I'm like, okay, we're not getting Mephisto. Then I'm waiting for, like, all right, we'll get a Doctor Strange cameo. Then I'm like, all right, well, we'll find out that Quicksilver is bringing, like, Magneto's going to show up. Like, I had all this stuff. So my expectations are so low that any reveal would have been good. So this was good. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I didn't like the fact that we got to deal with all sorts of, like, people like, well, what does this mean? Who is, like, because Nathaniel Richards is who I think of when I think of Kang, right? So yeah, who knows where that's going to end up going. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was cool. I'm glad we got Kang. I think that it was, when we look back, it was kind of obvious because this now sets up Spider-Man, which then sets up Doctor Strange, and Black Widow set up one of our upcoming series. So, like, it makes sense. I think it was probably predictable. I think it was a nice way to give us something, because it seems like they don't want to give us too much of a story changer in these shows, right? No. Like, it's not like they're going to give us, like, basically, we got spoiled with The Mandalorian when Luke Skywalker showed up, right? Like, we were all like, oh my God. Like, now we have these ridiculous expectations. So I think they did a nice job of balancing it.
Yeah, they gave us Ahsoka and Luke in the same season. What were they thinking?
It is that's just scale now, isn't it? When there's a reveal or something like that, it's on the scale of 0 to Luke Skywalker. Like, where are we sitting on this? What I must admit is quite funny, because I don't class the Ant-Man and Wasp films as the hugely popular kind of. They're not your Captain Americas, your Iron Man, your Thors, all that kind of stuff. But yet Kang is on the card for that's his film. That's what he's been announced for, and I'm really interested to see how they weave that in, and how he's.
It seems that we're getting a lot of, like, almost buddy movies now. So Doctor Strange has got Wanda with him. Spider-Man is going to have cameos from other films and things like that as well. And I believe Doctor Strange is going to show up in Spider-Man for what we've read so far. So, I mean, someone's going to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp with them. Whether or not it's going to be Doctor Strange, Wanda, or we're going to see something from one of these other films all building up to this bit. Yeah. There's going to be other characters in there. And it's going to all be about the quantum realm more than likely, and all that kind of stuff. We might find more about the TVA in that movie for all we know.
Fantastic Four. It would work.
So, but,
it would work.
I don't know how they're going to do that. That's going to be tough to do.
I don't know. It's What did you think because obviously it was also announced that there's going to be a series 2, which I was quite shocked about because none of the others really made a big point of that, did they? Like I don't remember. I mean, I know Falcon and Winter Soldier, they kind of did the whole Captain America and the Winter Soldier thing at the end. I don't remember if they said
no, they didn't say season 2 for anything else so far. This is the first one that's been confirmed as a season 2.
But to have that, and it worked with the whole stamp on the pad and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure where they're going to go with it. It's, are they going to use the series as a kind of a backbone to explaining things? And, with all the stuff that's going on in the films, and then the series is going to, I don't know.
To me, this first season was just all about explaining to people who haven't read the comic books how the multiverse works. This was all about the multiverse, the different versions, variants. It was all about that for me, just teaching the people who have never read the comic books how the Marvel universe is going to work going forward.
Yeah.
Where does this rank for you now? You got the 3 shows so far this year with Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, and Loki. Where do you guys put them?
For me, WandaVision's first, just because it was so. I love Wanda, and I love this. I love the Vision comic book and things like that they did. And for me, it was all about pulling all those influences together to make something new. So I loved WandaVision. So that's number 1 for me. And I've got to say, I think even the Winter Soldier TV series was more exciting for me than Loki was. So I'm going to put Loki last.
I'm right with you. Dead in. Exactly. Unless Loki, I haven't seen the last one, but I don't think there's anything it can do to top the other 2 for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I think I'd probably lock it in the same as well. As you guys were speaking, I was wondering whether I'd put Falcon and Winter Soldier at the top, but only because I think it had so much potential and there was so many, I love the Falcon character. I love the Winter Soldier character. Having Zemo back was fantastic, but I don't think that the series did the series justice, if that makes sense. There was too much chopping and changing.
There was more that could have done with it. It needed to be either longer or like a season 2 almost needed to be announced for that. There was so much more to say.
But I think in the kind of respect of which one had me on the edge of my seat the most, it was definitely WandaVision. WandaVision kept me hooked right up until that last minute. Speaking of which, did you watch the alternate version that I told you about? Did you?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't gone away and watched that yet.
Did you hear about this, Matt? So I've said this on one of the previous shows. I'll say it again. But Disney Plus changed the ending to WandaVision without announcing it to anyone. So that bit where you're looking at the cabin at the end when she sat in there, they switched it out and changed it. So it's slightly different now than what it was before. So there's a couple of extra trees. There's a duck that's on the lake that's now gone away and everything like that. But then what people on the internet picked up on is in the far kind of top corner, you see almost like a glitch kind of going down towards the cabin. And so people were saying, oh, it's Vision, it's Doctor Strange, it's X, Y, and Z. My thoughts, are we going to see that scene again in another film?
Yeah.
And so it's going to tie in, and that's why. So obviously with post-production and stuff, they had to change it or edit it so that it fit in with the movie. And they switched it on Disney Plus, and then some real eagle-eyed kind of person sort of went, oh, that's different. And the little...
Anyone notice?
No, I know. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And when you look at the 2 side by side, it's so minute that how someone noticed they've either got too much time on their hand or they're in the wrong job and they need to be like in like criminal investigation or something. But there is a glitch on it, but I think it is just a glitch. I don't think it's a character. I don't think, because if it was, they would have made a bigger noise about it. They wouldn't have just kind of dropped it in hoping someone had seen it. So I think that scene got changed for the sake of a future movie. I suppose while we're talking about kind of end credit scenes and stuff like that, one thing I did hear this week was that there was supposed to be an alternate version of the Black Widow end credit scene. Did you hear this?
I heard this.
Yeah. So did you hear this, Sorrell, at all?
No, I honestly haven't.
So the bit where she whistles at the grave?
Yeah.
There was supposedly a cut where someone whistled back.
All right.
Is that what you heard?
Yep.
Matt, we're on the same one, yeah?
You hear the rest of it, though, I'm assuming?
No. Go. I might have. I might not have.
So the whistle, I guess, and I didn't notice this, but in the beginning of the movie, I guess her and Natasha were doing the whistle to each other, and that was like their little thing. So the whistle back, everyone's saying, well, that was clearly Natasha, but how? Well, if you think about it, when Captain America went back to see the Red Skull, Soul for a soul, does it go both ways? Like, does he need to trade the stone for a soul to get it back?
And then got Natasha back. Yes, I did read the rest of that. Yes. So the common theory of, people have said about that, haven't they? About the soul for a soul stone, and then that was the end credit. The end credit scene was supposedly cut differently to kind of tease that idea as well. I just thought it was a really bizarre one to kind of let out that, we were going to kind of bring her back, but we've not. So
I think it's because potentially, like you said about the previous end credit scene that got changed, potentially that might be something we cover off in the next Hawkeye television series. Clearly, they're going to be bringing Yelena Belova into it. So maybe Black Widow is like a backbone part of that. She's trying to get revenge for her sister or whatever, chasing him down, and that he's the target. So maybe she's going to learn. Yeah, she's going to learn more about him and stuff. So it's going to be great.
What I suppose while we're on that, sort of bringing Loki and WandaVision into the mix as well. The Falcon and Winter Soldier television show, and obviously the Black Widow movie. We've had those at the same time. We've had WandaVision and Loki, but they don't seem like affected by the stuff that's going on. If that makes sense. So there wasn't anything that happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier that kind of plays into the idea of all this multiverse.
Because it hasn't happened yet.
No, but I'm saying that they hadn't even kind of set up that, there was no hint of it. It's almost like, and the Black Widow stuff, there's no hint of any of that. For me, it feels like I'm watching kind of two storylines.
Do you remember I said to you about maybe a week or so ago? I said that I think the Marvel films are now going to branch off into two. We're either going to have the ones that are going to follow the story of the multiverse of madness, and then the super soldier stuff. And the two won't meet until the next big Avengers crossover. Yeah, we're going to keep these storylines running parallel. Something will happen that will bring everything back together.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
I think that's how they'll probably, because otherwise they're just opening the door to a great big can of worms with multiple Captain Americas kicking about and Chris Evans having to re-sign a contract for another 10 years.
We've already seen two Captain Americas. We don't need to see it again. Like, they've already seen that fight in Endgame.
If like you're saying, if all of the universe is now affected by this variant thing, they would have to show that somehow. So I think that's why they're keeping it separate. They're keeping the characters that they want for the multiverse bit in the multiverse storyline, and then keeping the super soldier stuff on an alternate sort of path, going towards probably a different storyline altogether.
You just reminded me as well. I got my Red Guardian Melina 2-pack as well. That's on the way. I just remembered that. Still gutted that he didn't have a shield in the film. I'm still gutted he didn't even just hold it up, but that's not here nor there. That's just me and my toys. But yeah, so any other thoughts on Loki before we kind of move on?
Nope. It did what it said on the tin. When you could see by that final episode, it was a very talky episode, and we knew where we were going. You knew she was gonna kill him. Come on, there was no doubts about that.
It's Jonathan Masters, isn't it? Is that the actor, Jonathan Masters?
I believe so.
That's his name, isn't it? I just thought he was fantastic, though. That kind of Willy Wonka-esque, kind of crazy, zany, I could just hear the imagination song and like, come on. And it was just, I thought his portrayal was great. And I'm really excited to see what he does with the evil Kang. And I think he's going to be great. So that's my thought. It just left me excited for what's to come. I think
that whole thing about, if you kill me, you'll release all these other things. He knew that was going to happen. I think he knew all along where this was going.
It was the line when she stabbed him and he said, "I'll see you soon." I just thought that was killer. I just thought that was not chilling, but it was kind of almost like, yeah, you've done it. Right. I'll see you in a bit. Something. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I was happy. I'm going to be gutted this Wednesday when I've got nothing to watch. But obviously we've got the What If coming up. So we'll hold out and we'll obviously talk about that in future weeks, I'm sure. So before we round up then, anything else major? I know you're itching to talk about something, Sorrell.
So McFarlane dropped some awesome looking figures this week. Obviously, first off, they're going to be making the Cobra Kai stuff and the Karate Kid stuff, which looks amazing. And there's going to be like the battle damage versions now of Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence and stuff. And they're also doing the Cobra Kai, the older variants. The other thing that was kind of big on McFarlane this week was the Princess Bride, the Inigo Montoya. So I mean, he's coming in action figure form.
I did not see that.
So yeah, it was a little teaser of him sat on the rock and stuff with the sword and things. It's like, I cannot wait to get that so I can make 1,000,001 skits going, you killed my father, prepare to die. I'm just waiting for it. The first one's going to be with Darth Vader. I am your father, prepare to die. But the one that got me the most excited as a big Disney nerd was the Mirrorverse, as it's been now being called. Disney's Mirrorverse is a new game that's coming out for mobile. And they're also going to have park integrations in California, Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Florida. And they're releasing 2 separate toy lines by McFarlane so far. So this hasn't even come out yet, and Disney are pushing this to the max with McFarlane. They've got a 7-inch toy line, which is our usual boxed up figures that we're used to. And then they're also doing a smaller 5-inch line in bubble packaging. And they've even announced characters like Belle from Beauty and the Beast as like a sorceress, because in the Mirrorverse, she has different powers. There's a Mickey and a Goofy in the 5-inch format as well, which look very nice. But the ones that everyone's been talking about is the 7-inch Buzz Lightyear that's coming out. He looks awesome. It's like the Buzz suit is almost mech style. And then you've got Jack Sparrow with his like one of his arms are all skeletal, and he's got like a ghostly effect piece that you can put on him. And he's
awesome.
He's known as on the packaging. It says he's the corrupt Jack Sparrow. So there's going to be something in game about all this. But yeah, it's all coming out very soon, and I can't wait for the game to drop to learn more about it. But Mirrorverse by Disney is the new thing.
Excellent.
I cannot wait to see what the toy lines come out from that.
Oh no, it looks really good. It does look really good. Anything on your radar at all, Matt?
Yeah, I might be a week behind on this. I think I am. But I was really pumped with the Hercules reveal. It didn't seem like people were that excited for it. But as a guy who can never track down the endgame Hercules for a decent price, I'm really pumped to get myself a Hercules.
Yeah, it's I'm really excited for that one. I'm not going to lie.
The super naked Hercules.
The super naked Hercules. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I was just reading the She-Hulk run by Dan Slott, where she's defending him in court because he keeps causing all sorts of damage and collateral damage. I'm like, yeah, I need this.
It's a really nice looking figure. And I love the retro cards. I mean, I'm a open collector. Do you know what I mean? I like busting it open, but the kind of blue and red kind of retro cards look really nice. I'm really pleased that they've gone back to that one. But I was pumped. I mean, I remember seeing the digital rendering that they kind of teased a while back, and I was like, yeah, I'm 100% for this. So to see him with kind of like an alternative head as well, like, yeah, I'm really excited.
With She-Hulk coming to Disney Plus as well, and they've made this new Hercules, and like you say, there is that comic run, which I'm glad you mentioned. Could this be a hint that maybe he's a character that's going to be in the She-Hulk TV series? Because he is also an Avenger, and we've got the Eternals coming up as well. Hercules would be a great person to have on board to fight the Eternals, being, a demigod almost.
That would be cool. Not gonna lie, that would be cool.
Really imagine if they get a good actor to play him as well, the banter you could have between Thor and Hercules as 2 demigods on Earth, that could be hilarious.
Oh, just the banter between them. Oh my god! Well, I'm also kind of a god.
You can just imagine it, especially as Thor's definitely going down that more comedic kind of Guardians of the Galaxy kind of theme. You could have a lot of fun with that. Definitely a lot of fun with that.
Big time. So, I mean, I wondered if that was a thing as well. I was thinking about that this week. Maybe that could be a character we could foresee in the MCU very soon.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I don't think there's much more else. I really don't think there was much else.
No, other than that, it has been, as much as we've had, it has been a quiet week again. But we did have the Galactus was the big news of the week. That was the big
Of course it was. Yeah. And then obviously Loki finishing up kind of gives us a bit of a breathing room. But hopefully we'll get some more stuff to come out next week. And then obviously give us a bit more to talk about next week. But I enjoyed this week. I'm pleased with what we got. Obviously it's been great having you on board, Matt, to kind of get a third opinion of everything. And obviously you are more than welcome back anytime. Just let us know. So that's about it for this week, I think, unless any of you gents have got anything else you'd like to say.
I'm all good.
No, so obviously if you have enjoyed, please do like, share, subscribe. Look down in the description below to obviously give these gents a follow, and we will see you next week. Take care.